An NTTV special report, UNTPrezTalks, with Dr. Neil Simontrisk.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of UNTPrezTalks, where we sit down and have a real conversation with UNT President Neil Simontrisk. How are you doing today, President Simontrisk?
I'm doing great. How are you, Michaela?
I'm good, busy as ever, but we're getting through it. All right, so basically just to start off with, graduation. We touched on it a little bit in our last episode, but now, new update, the official graduation plans have come out, and students are now wondering if they will be recognized as a whole or have their names called while they remain seated. What exactly is the plan?
So the plan's subject to modification. At this time, because we're concerned about the length of the events and the kinds of weather that we're having, we were planning to do something called a mass conferral. Students would stand up, we would confer the degree, I would confer the degree, they would sit down. And then the individual recognition ceremonies that are being done virtually would call out their names. So that's the initial going in plan. I will look, depending on how many people sign up to do this, because we don't know for sure yet. If the number is small enough, I would consider some kind of having them stand up and have their name read, stand up, sit down kind of a deal. I would consider it, but I don't know if it's practical if you have 2,000 people and each name takes 3 seconds. That actually adds up to a very, very long period of time. Yeah, well, again, we got to run the numbers.
Okay, and there has been a petition circulating calling for a socially distanced way for graduates to walk across the stage. Now, understanding time constraints, of course, is that a feasible plan for this kind of ceremony?
It isn't feasible, and it's very difficult to keep people socially isolated and still run across the stage. They wouldn't be able to receive a diploma or get a handshake, so it's probably not. If we did something, it would be more like the stand-up, sit-down.
Okay. And moving on from that, still in the range of COVID, of course, reports are now showing that the U.S., like many other countries, is entering the second surge of COVID-19. Now, given the success of our current COVID-19 plans, we have very low numbers across the board here at UNT. Will we augment the plans that we have in place right now, or will we change them up a little bit?
Well, we're surging too, and it's not at the panic point yet, but we're seeing a steady rise. And that is certainly reflected by the fact that bars are open, that people are getting mask fatigue, that people are kind of forgetting and getting lax, and sometimes making bad choices. And so we need to work very hard right now and to be diligent to make sure that in the residence halls, in our Greek societies, in the social organizations that we have on campus, that we're trying to do our best to behave so that we can get to Thanksgiving. So all I'll say is we plan on making it. Right now, we were beginning to entertain proposals for events, and I don't know if under the current circumstances that that's the best thing for us to do. So we're going to have our safety committees and our student event committees taking a hard look at things. We're going to talk about them and see if we need any additional measures. The numbers here concern me. We're standing at over 50. Active cases right now, not all campus involved or direct impacts on campus. And that's a larger number than I'm comfortable with. So let's see where this goes, but I'm going to say, in my opinion, we're hitting kind of the first warning flag. And so that means we need to be more diligent and more thoughtful about what we do.
Okay, and little bit of a happier note, UNT just received a $2 million grant from the Department of Education. Can you go into a little bit more detail about what exactly this money is going to be put towards?
Yeah, this is an awesome grant. It's by people in the College of Education, and what they're proposing is that we develop really strong methodologies for bringing people in who have various types of disabilities, in some cases invisible disabilities, whether it's autism or some other form of learning disabilities, working with them to develop methodologies to make them as successful as our other students. And so I can see this starting off fairly small to begin with a limited number of students, but growing over time so that we can offer better access, better aspirations, better career hopes to people who have talent and the ability to be in college, but may have other issues that make it challenging for them to stay in college and be successful.
And speaking of invisible disabilities, a UNT organization called Someone Like Me just recently got a proposal approved by Governor Abbott to have this week named Invisible Disabilities Week. And now I'm sure you're very proud of these students, but what are your thoughts on this?
Well, clearly this ties in with what we just talked about. So many people who are on our campus have various challenges that we might not know about. Whether it's dizziness, or whether it's a learning disability, or whether it's a mental health challenge. They look like regular people to you and I, but maybe there's a barrier there because of something that's going on inside them that doesn't show up, that makes it difficult for them to have the same kind of success that someone who doesn't have these invisible disabilities has. So I think it's a great topic, and I think what we're trying to do here in the United States is to create a more equitable way for people with any form of disability to engage in productive careers and engage in society. And so I think it's time that our university addresses these issues as well.
That is absolutely beautifully said. Good. Thank you so much. Now, last week we were named one of the nation's top 100 colleges and universities for Hispanics. What does this mean for UNT on top of us already being a Hispanic serving institute?
Well, I think it's really interesting. We're rapidly getting known as a Tier 1 Hispanic Serving Institute. There's 16 of them in the United States. As a result of being recognized this way, we hope that we continue to be one of the paths that Hispanic students choose to enhance their careers and gain their education. We hope that this is the kind of publicity that really encourages people to take a chance on college education if they were thinking they wouldn't. We're certainly doing all we can now to improve access for our various diverse populations, but it's also opening the doors for some other grant opportunities for us. So for example, we're working with a group of institutions around the country to increase the pipeline flow of doctoral students who are Hispanic into academia so that our professors look a little bit more like the populations they're teaching. And this one effort will be funded by the Carnegie Mellon Foundation. And we're very excited to see where it'll take us. So being recognized is step one. Being asked to join consortia and collaborations and grant projects is step two. Being great at what we do is step three.
And I think what you said about having a professor or just a teacher in general that looks like you, teach you everything that they know, just makes it so much easier for you to grasp onto what they're saying and for you to relate to them and just learn better and have a better learning environment. That is beautifully said. Now, finally, the NTTV Squirrel Squad recently caught Lucky on camera behind the music building. Can you tell us if you have seen Lucky yourself? I know he is so hard to find out there, and just what he means to you.
Well, I've seen Lucky quite a few times because he hangs out in that group of trees right over there between Hurley and the library. And a couple days ago, I got some pictures of him and tweeted some. Lucky was just posing for everybody. He was out there busy grabbing acorns and burying them from spot to spot and looked pretty frisky. So Lucky's around, he's alive and well, and we're just happy he's on campus. And I know that that same day I saw some students who were coming up the library mall, and I just went, hey, have any of you all seen Lucky? And they went, where's Lucky? Let's go. So a whole group of students dashed off because they needed a little bit of that good luck from Lucky.
Especially for those midterms that were just last week. He was especially needed. Now, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time out to stay with us on Prez Talks.
Well, thank you very much, Michaela. And I just want to give a reminder to everyone, with cases surging in Texas and cases surging in Denton County and cases surging on our campus, it's a really good time to take care of yourself, to be thoughtful, to take care of your friends and family, and to do what's socially responsible by following masking and social distancing, okay?
Thank you so much. And thank you for watching UNT Prez Talks. Join us again the Friday after next for another UNT Prez Talks.
You've been watching an NTTV special report, UNT Prez Talks, with Dr. Neil Samatrisk.